Hello, I'm Earl Carter. I'm one of the senior threat researchers as part of Cisco's Talos outreach team. Today I'm going to talk to you about the great advantages Talos provides to all of our Cisco security customers. Talos is actually the team of threat researchers that Cisco has created to drive protection out in all of our different security products. And as you've seen looking at the security news now, this threat landscape is constantly evolving, changing. It's a 24-hour cycle of new threats coming in. And our job is to protect our customers basically constantly, 24/7, looking for those new threats that are out there so that we can protect against that latest threat that's trying to gain access to your network, trying to steal your data, trying to steal your money. Whatever the case may be, we're there to protect against those threats. Let's take a little bit of a look of what Talos looks like. We actually put over 300 security researchers that are looking for new threats that are out there, and we've actually organized them into different teams based on their skills so that we can effectively look for the new threats that are out there. If you think about it, look at an example we had just a couple weeks ago. We saw a new threat, Brusha Loader. It's a new loader that downloads various types of malware. We started seeing it become much more active. Well, the only way we could do that was our threat intelligence team has given us tools and techniques that we can use to mine our data sets and see this new activity that was happening. We were able then to start seeing how widespread this campaign was. We were able to get the detection and research team to take this malware apart, actually see what types of malware it was trying to download, how did it operate, what were the behaviors, even looking for more domains, more IOCs that it was trying to connect to. We could put all that information together, identify this threat that's been out there, even research back into the past through our data to see different campaigns that were going on months in the past, and take all that information, drive protection out to our customers, as well as providing information out to the general public in blogs, white papers, to give information about this new threat so everybody knew what was happening. And it took a coordinated effort between those various teams working together to drive this information out quickly and effectively so that everybody knew about this threat that was sitting out there trying to gain access and drop malware onto people's networks. And it's not just malware. We have a team of zero-day hunters. Our vulnerability research and development team, all they do is look for 0 days in software. Obviously, we work with vendors to try and fix those vulnerabilities, even create IPS signatures to see if someone's trying to exploit that 0-day. But the main focus of that is that we want to understand how the attackers are trying to take advantage of these vulnerabilities. And by identifying these 0 days, we then know the same information that the attackers do. We have the same techniques. We understand how they can exploit classes of vulnerabilities, and that gives us insight to help improve our products, improve our research capability, and again, enhance that protection and visibility because we now have a lot better understanding from the actual attacker's perspective. So why should you trust Talos? It's not just this team of researchers. We've actually put a process together that allows us to take our visibility, which is unmatched, turn that into actionable threat intelligence, and then drive that actionable threat intelligence into a response that allows our customers to effectively take action to block those threats. Even so, giving out information to the general public, which is another response that can help the entire community see about this threat. And that's important because these three pillars, if you will, aren't happening in isolation. They actually feed off of each other. They're constantly evolving. We will see something with our unmatched visibility, use that to generate actionable intelligence, but then that actually feeds back into providing us more visibility, and all of that generates a response that we can then keep cycling through. And again, continuing to analyze these threats and get better protection for our customers and for pretty much all the people that use the internet. So let's look at that unmatched visibility. You have to be able to see where the threats are coming from before you can obviously take action against them, before you can try and even see if a threat's there. You can get visibility in many different ways, but one of the keys that Talos has, which differentiates it from everybody else, is that our visibility is pretty much unmatched. And it starts with a broad swath of telemetry data coming from products that span from the network through the email to the net firewall to the cloud. We have visibility throughout the entire network space. That gives us a lot of concrete information about actual data that we can look for threats that are out there. But we won't just stop with just that telemetry information. We'll also deploy threat traps to try and see new attacks that are out there. Then we work with different researchers, different partners, different customers to share intelligence data, because we know that it goes beyond. The more we can share, the more visibility we can achieve, the better we are at looking at where these threats are coming from and how we can then address that and make sure that none of these new threats slip by and fall through the cracks. So after we've identified something, what happens? Obviously, one of the first things is you need to now take the fact that there's a new threat and figure out how can you stop that. Initially, it may be just blocking the hash of something that was attached to an email. That's a very quick block, can be driven out very quickly, but that's not the end of the story. You're going to take that malware, you're going to analyze it. What kind of domains does it connect to? What other malware does it try and download? Is it associated with other samples that may be part of that same campaign? Are there other domains that are associated with this campaign? And as that research evolves, we now have a lot more IOC data that we can drive out and protect our customers from. Ultimately, we'd like to take that research and find out what is the context behind an attack. Is it driven by profit? Is it driven by an APT, nation state group? What are the reasons? Are they looking for destruction? Because that information is very useful when you're trying to describe this new attack to the world. Because everybody needs to understand, why is this attack happening? Because when you understand that, it helps more to drive your protections that you're going to have to put on your network to actually stop this threat. And that's where we come into the last stage of this. We've now identified something that says, this is what's going to help stop this threat. But now you have to have a way to actually do that stop. And that's where the coordinated response comes in. We need to be able to drive that information into a situation, in this case, Cisco Security Solutions, that you can use to actually block that threat. Once you can block that threat, it's now no longer an impact on our customers. Their networks will see that threat coming in, the security devices will automatically take action, prevent it from coming to the network, and now they're protected from that new threat. But it doesn't stop at just protecting against those threats with Cisco products. We're also going to blog about these threats because we want the entire security community to know, here's a new threat that's out there, here's some indicators of compromise you can use to try and see if it's impacting your network or not, because we know as a community we need to work together and share information so that we can pretty much have a coordinated effort against these attacks that are out there. The attackers share information all the time. They're always reusing what their peers are doing. On the defensive side, we have to do the same type of thing to stay ahead of the attackers. We need to work together as an industry, and we're leading the forefront on that as well. We're constantly working with other researchers so that everybody knows about the latest threat that's out there so we can have that coordinated response. So let's walk through an actual example that happened. You may remember NotPetya. It was a very destructive cyber attack, labeled as the costliest cyber attack in history. It was a destructive attack launched against the Ukraine. It was based on a supply chain attack that targeted the MEDOC financial software. Well, when this attack first happened, we had visibility. We saw different snort rules firing immediately as soon as the attack started. But we didn't have just snort rules. We also had a working relationship with the Ukrainian cyber police. They basically gave us information about what was happening as well because we had been working with them on an ongoing basis for a couple of years. That there gave us information, that visibility, to go and start researching this attack. That allowed us to develop some more context, realize that even though it purported to be ransomware, it was really just a destructive attack to try and pretty much designed just to create havoc. We were able to research that, see what was exposed, what were the propagation methods used by this malware, develop new protection that could be driven out, and that allowed us to, again, go to that coordinated response where we could update snort rules, have new IOC information to block this attack, do blogs to let the entire world know how was this malware propagating, what were the techniques that they were using, what was information that was key to analyzing this new attack that's out there. Even going to the level of enhancing our own products? How do we improve those products to go forward? I mean, one of the first things that we did also in the response, which sort of shows how these all work together, is we immediately sent field personnel to actually work with the Ukrainian cyber police. They were there to actually get drives from MEDOC so they could take that, find information about the attack that was on the cutting edge. It was information nobody else had because we had that relationship. We were working on finding that accurate information because that's the other key when you're trying to respond to a threat. The information has to be quick, but it also has to be very accurate. If you send people on a wild goose chase, that doesn't help because people are wasting their time and we don't have enough resources already. So you need to have accurate information that you can trust and make sure you're driving forward. So that just shows that all these steps are constantly in flux, and it doesn't even stop with the attack. We have people that are constantly monitoring this threat, this malware, looking for new instances of it. Are people using it in a new attack? Are they continuing to evolve? Because we want to constantly monitor all these threats so that we can keep our pulse on whether they're changing or not. So let's wrap this all up. We've talked about this process of flowing from unmatched visibility through actionable intelligence all the way out to a coordinated response. All those steps, that process, is really what differentiates Talos and allows us to generate very effective threat intelligence that can be used to block the latest threats that are coming out in the cyberspace. But the point here is it just doesn't stop with a simple pushing this out to a single product. As you can see, this threat intelligence is fed into essentially every security solution that Cisco supplies. And that solution is very broad. We have a very broad architecture, and all of those different components become more effective because of the intelligence that Talos is generating on a daily basis. And then one of the great things about it is you get that intelligence for free. You will never have to pay for Talos. Talos is something that's automatically given whenever you deploy one of these Cisco security solutions. And as you deploy them on your network, it just becomes even that much more effective because more areas of your network are now being protected with this up-to-date threat intelligence that stops pretty much all the new threats that are happening on a daily basis.